Allow me to explain. You will feel some pain.
Hey guys, welcome to our podcast. This is ShantottoCast. I'm Eric.
I'm Tyler.
And
this is our fifth episode?
Yeah, fifth and last.
Sadly, our
once
last.
again.
Yeah, my hair deal didn't go through, and I don't know what I'm going to do anymore.
Yeah, Ty's really depressed. He's got to check himself into a facility.
I got kids to feed.
Ty, you're supposed to pitch that part at the end with the Kofi.
I have to feed myself. But anyway, so we had a little bit of a change of locale today.
Yeah, I'm visiting my parents, and Ty is also visiting my parents.
Yeah. So we're
recording in my old bedroom.
Yeah, which is fun. So we're also a little letterboxed in.
Yeah, we had to
make my fun little fourth wall reference.
Ha ha ha.
Hardy har har.
Yeah. So, but today's topic, we're talking about how to prep for tournament season. Local qualifier locations just got announced, dates included, and we figured now is a good time to tell people, give everybody an idea who's never competed before, good etiquette, just some tips from players who've been around the block a few times, and just get an idea of what to expect from a tournament.
Yeah, and then we're also going to be talking about how to act at a regional. Admittedly, we don't have the most experience with this, so we've been playing in mostly local stuff, but we did have a regional at our LGS last year, and it went super well. It went great. It was a lot of fun. And then from previous card game stuff, we've done obviously a lot of pre-releases, and we've done a lot of smaller tournaments. I never actually went to I played Yu-Gi-Oh a lot, but I never went to a regional for it. But so this is just be kind of tips on how to prepare specifically for the Final Fantasy regional.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff, if you've watched other videos where they talk about kind of preparing for a large scale tournament, there's going to be a lot of the same things. But we also know that a lot of people who play Final Fantasy haven't played a lot of other card games. Obviously, there's some overlap from Magic and other kind of similar card games. But at the same time, we do want to be able to deliver for people who haven't really played out a regional, for people who haven't really played other card games to a serious manner, and just kind of what to do. And this will also kind of leak into a little bit of what to do at a locals you're new at or something like that.
Yeah. So I guess we can skip a little bit down the list and then skip over it later. But we can talk about knowing the local meta versus the meta of the region or meta on a higher scale than your local store or play group. A lot of people go to a regional and then it doesn't occur to them that people at their local shop might not be playing what is known as a more general meta. So they'll be like, well, Scions are really popular here, but they don't think that Mono Ice or Earth Wind or something else might be more dominant elsewhere, and they'll travel and they'll get there and they'll be like, oh my god, I didn't prepare for this at all. I'm a sitting duck. And
I'm running into matchups that I've never seen before and I never thought I'd see before, or my playgroup might not even have the budget to run that deck. I think a good example of this is Mono Wind, where because it's a very, very expensive deck, the baseline for the deck is around $200, which for this game is very expensive.
Yeah.
You don't see it a lot in a local meta. You might see one or two players. Right now, we only have 2 players that really run Mono Wind. And that's a deck that you will see on a larger scale. That's a deck that does super well in tournaments and will do really well in a larger tournament. The only hard part about this one is it's hard to prepare for. This is the one that is... you want to take a mental note and you want to try to be as diverse as possible when you're kind of practicing your matchups. But this is one that I think the only really good advice that we could give is try Untap or try Octagon.
Yep.
Because there's always people playing a bunch of different decks. It's really easy to find someone if you're like, hey, do you mind running this really good deck? And it just kind of gives you a little bit of experience for it.
Both of those platforms are completely free. You have infinite access to any card for free. You can build whatever decks you want. You can import into Octagon from ffdecks.com. So you can just build a deck, plop it in.
It's super handy.
Yeah, it's really convenient. Props to FFDecks for doing that.
Yeah.
And it makes it, you get the option of play testing a lot of things you wouldn't otherwise see, and that's a really good preparation there.
Yeah. Yeah, and another kind of approach to that is proxying and just kind of trying to mess with the deck. And you can also just kind of look at other top deck lists. That kind of also gives you an idea of what you're going to be seeing. A lot of people tend to take basically what won last format, what won the last Crystal Cup or something like that, and they try to bring it and mess around with it. But yeah, so you will do, if you do want to do well, if you want to compete, and if you really do want to try to get into that top 4 slots, if you want to qualify, it's probably a good idea to research what's good.
Yeah.
What's really good.
And do that sooner rather than later, which helps us segue into what we originally had as the first thing on the list. Buy your cards early. A lot of people, they don't think, it doesn't occur to a lot of people that tournament season is going to drive up prices of cards. It's not only going to drive up prices of cards normally, there's a lot of people out there that are going to buy out entire stocks of a certain card and then relist them for their own price, kind of forcing people to adapt to that price, and it falsely inflates the value of certain cards that are otherwise not so worth that. We saw it last year in Shantotto, Al Cid, and a few other staple cards.
Yeah, Al Cid being the outlier. For
that one got up to $60 for the non-foil.
Which is bonkers.
For Final Fantasy, that's nuts.
Yeah, and right now sadly, we're kind of giving this piece of advice a little too late, only because right now cards are very much spiking. But at the same time, someone might watch this like kind of down the line and just be like, oh, okay, tournament season's coming up, it's in the middle of like
this
winter.
Is kind of a timeless video in theory, right?
But yes, because right now, Shantotto's spiking. Everything good is spiking right now.
The examples that we wrote down were Veritas. Yeah. That one spiked from, I think it was $10. It tripled in price. Yeah. Almost overnight. Shantotto almost tripled in price.
Yeah, went from, I think, like 14 to almost 35.
No, it went from 18 to like 35, 40.
Yeah.
Double. Yeah. And then we have basically any ice staples, any lightning staples.
Yeah, and we can also throw wind staples on there.
Yeah,
too.
wind.
Yeah, wind cards are really jumping up right now.
Yeah, so buy those cards before they go crazy. Even if you don't think you'll need them, pick them up. There's never a reason to not have them. Yeah. If you go a long time and realize you're not using them, maybe think about trading them away or whatever, but make sure you get your value for them. Yeah. But don't gouge the price. Yeah. Be aware of what's falsely inflated and what's not. Nobody likes that person who's sitting there and looking at the one listing for a Shantotto or Cloud of Darkness. And
that's like $70.
$70. You should totally trade me, like 3 of this other card in like a couple of days. It's just like, dude, don't be that guy.
Yeah, it's... in a way, I do understand, because the thing is, there are times where a card will spike and will stay at that, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that with Veritas right now. Yeah. Because he is still a very new card. People are calling, I want to say jokingly, but not really, they're jokingly calling this the Veritas meta. Yeah. Where everybody's building with Veritas and against Veritas at the same time, because he's just this insane universal card. And we're going to see that. We're probably not going to see him go down. But at the same time, it's also a good idea to just kind of pick up cards that you will definitely need. For example, if you're starting to build towards like a mono ice deck or ice earth and you realize that you haven't picked up Kujas yet or something like that, you want to pick them up sooner rather than later, and you want to just kind of hold on to them even if you're not too sure. Especially if a card's cheap right now. Yeah. Like, a good example of this is, Garland 9. Because Garland 9 isn't super expensive right now. It's like 10-ish. But the thing is, the second the first regional comes out where someone topped with a deck that was running, 3 Garland 9s, that card will spike, and that card will go up.
And this is kind of universal for any card game. As soon as people see a card do well in a tournament, they're going to change their mind on it, and they're going to try and run it.
Sorry, a really good example of this is from Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it was Neo-Spacian Dolphin? I forget his name, but it was this card that it won a tournament, basically. And it was this guy running it as one of tech, and the card shot up in price. Yeah. It went from this, like, no joke, like, 10-cent card to, like, this $5, $7, $8, $9, $10 card, like, overnight. Well, it was really funny.
Last summer, I remember talking to some people about Pokemon and how the fairy grass... or it was grass with a splash of fairy. Yeah. And that was laughed at. Yeah. And then suddenly it won a big tournament, and everybody flipped, and now suddenly
all the GXs and stuff.
All the GXs for that deck are $20-$30 each, and you need a play set of some of them, which is 4 in Pokemon.
Yeah.
So the value of any card in that deck went crazy, and our local shop had piles of those cards.
And then to wrap up to the big three, Magic also has a big example of that right now, where right now Magic, this is going to date the video a bit, but right now Magic and Wizards as a whole is talking about the London Mulligan. So it's kind of funny because later down a year from now or 2 years down from now, someone's going to watch this and be like, oh yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Or it'll just be like, yeah, no, it was too dumb and they got rid of it. But right now they're kind of joking about the London Mulligan in a lot of formats, including Modern and Standard. And in Modern, that's driving up the price of all the ley lines.
Yeah.
Because ley lines are a combo piece that are great, or like an anti-combo piece that are great and work super well with the London Mulligan, makes it all very good. And anybody who didn't pick up on a Leyline of the Void right now is kind of pissed because Leyline's spiking. It's almost twice what it was before. And this is for a decision that may not be final.
Yeah.
But that's always going to happen in card games, so it's best to kind of prepare and just get that out of the way as fast as possible.
And moving on, we have our next thing, which is pretty straightforward, doesn't really need a lot of explanation. But we have buying sleeves immediately before or even at a tournament.
Yeah.
So that, nobody has any reason to believe that you're marking your cards or anything like that. At the very least, buy some oversleeves, and then you do half the work so you don't have to unsleeve your deck and then re-sleeve it. Just slap the oversleeves on. If you really don't like them, you can take them off later.
Yeah. And that's making sure that you aren't using old sleeves. And that's kind of another aspect of this one, is that it's don't use old sleeves because anyone can call out marked cards. The thing is, if you have a really nice pair of Eclipse and you've just been kind of using it for a while and just one card has a slight dent on the side or a slight dent on one of the corners.
Yeah, or there's even a little scuff on it. Someone's going to call it out. Yeah. There's always that jerk.
Yeah, but if you do have a pack fresh, pack of sleeves, even if you're just going to be using them temporarily, in case you want to take off that master sleeves. If you're a little worried because they're a little worn out or they're a little kind of rough, it's best to just kind of bring in new sleeves, use those for a little bit, and then swap them out after the tournament. You just want to avoid any way that you could be disqualified. And in this game, I feel like a lot of people are kind of cool about it. If you're running if you notice a sleeve has a slight overlap, or if one sleeve's slightly larger, halfway through the tournament, no one will really call you out on it. Nobody will be like, can I get a deck check, make sure everything's fine?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen a lot, but it's better safe than sorry. And at the same time, you don't want to be accidentally cheating. You don't want to actually have a marked sleeve.
Speaking of that actually is one of those things we didn't write down. You said we were going to come up with something on the fly.
Yeah.
So I don't know who else does this. I do this, and I know that I have to double check all of my decks before I go to tournaments. When I'm playtesting, I slip a card over the card in a sleeve that I'm testing of what I'm going to pull out. And so if I decide I don't like the card, I can just pull it out and be like, okay, that's what's still behind it. I'll go back to the old version of the deck. Make sure you do not do that.
Yeah.
That is not legal.
Fogel.
You will get annihilated by the judges during deck checks.
Yeah.
And it is 100%. No bueno.
Yeah.
It's cool for playtesting. Most people don't care, but when you're going to a tournament, the card in the front, there's only one card at all. There's no card in the front, card in the back crap.
Yeah.
That does not fly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you want to. That is something you literally just want to double check all of your decks. You want to double check what you're playing really, and just make sure that there's nothing off, there's nothing weird. And then also slightly related to this one, and I don't think this is one that we wrote down, but I personally have Japanese cards in all of my decks.
Oh, we did write that one down.
Okay, we did.
Somewhere, somewhere down there.
Yeah, but I run Japanese cards because I got them from a visit to Japan, not to brag, and they're super nice and I love them. But the thing is, that doesn't help the judges, and we'll transition into kind of we still need to talk about getting ready, but you want to have English copies with you, and you want to swap out the Japanese for English copies as much as possible, because you may think oh, it's just a Celeste, it's not a big deal, I know what it does, but the thing is, it's not hard for someone to challenge you on it, and if there is even a slight ruling conflict, it's really best to have an English copy. I know Final Fantasy isn't very strict on it. I know in Yu-Gi-Oh! You're not allowed to use your phone at all, even if you want to use it for English translations. and people get super mad about that.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, I remember during Worlds 2017, they actually were able to have a binder with every single card in every language of the tables. But now the game has expanded to more languages. We have almost three times as many sets as we did back then.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more to work with, and they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, and we won't have that at a regional.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to have all of those. So it's best to keep an English copy on you if you do have a foreign card, even if you have like a super nice like German Cloud, or if you have, like I said before, a Japanese Celeste, or maybe a Spanish.
I was jokingly going to say an Australian card.
Australia? This card file is just called Down Under. Sorry. But yeah, you just want to make sure that if you are having that much trouble, try to get like an English card just kind of on the side, even if you have to borrow it from a friend or something, or just try to make sure that your deck's entirely in English. Yeah. I'm going to have a lot of work to do with that because the main deck that I'm going to be running for all of our regionals it has quite a few Japanese cards in it.
Right.
But at the same time, you just need to make sure. This isn't even like against the rules, but it is definitely something that you want just to make everything to go easier, reduce the time in rounds and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I guess we can pick a different. We can go to a different topic now. So let's just go on. I guess we can go in order and see where we go. So pick a deck and stick with that deck. Know your deck inside and out. Know all the cards in it. Know what they do. Understand, obscure or unusual rulings about some of those cards if necessary. Take the time to learn your matchups. Play against a diverse round of decks and see what you're good against, what you're not good against, what gives you trouble in some way, what throws you off, and learn your own play style. Learn to correct common errors. That's something that, we were talking about this earlier today during a couple games. I have a tendency to not take casuals seriously, but then there's one or two times during a tournament where that seeps in as well. Yeah. And, I make a really stupid play, and I sit there and I'm just like super embarrassed. Yeah. But it's just like everybody knows I'm a better player than that, but I didn't play better than that. Yeah. So it's just like proof is in the pudding. So something that I always do, especially when I sit down with like a very serious deck, if I'm sitting down with a deck that I want to play in a regional, that I even want to play at like kind of our harder locals, I try to memorize the deck. And I know that seems like a lot, and it can be, but when you're running a bunch of practice hands with the deck, it's not as hard as it seems. And the reason I do that is to make sure that I don't have any missed searches, that I don't have anything that would be kind of like a gray spot for judges. For example, like something I've been running into a lot is I'm running 6 Flans in Ice Earth. I'm running 3 Earth, 3 Ice, obviously. And there's times where I didn't properly check my grave, so I thought I still had one in deck, or I didn't realize one got put into damage. I ended up checking deck for no reason, really. I missed the search. And I don't know all the official rulings on that one, to be honest, but that is still something that can be argued. Because the thing is, especially if you look at your deck, well, you did a search, so you have to shuffle, but at the same time, someone could say, like, oh, well, they were checking to see if they had a bad top deck or something like that, or they want to make sure something would go into EX or something like that. It's not hard for someone to call you out on that. So you do want to memorize your deck, because number one, it will help you play, and it will help how well you play your deck, just being able to know all of the numbers of everything. But you also want to do it just for ruling's sake, just to make sure that you aren't making that false search. Right. You're not breaking a rule without knowing it, or even not intending to. Yeah. Another thing to do, like I said, going back to knowing your matchups, really sit there and try to, ask your friends, hey, can I play against this deck for a few rounds? Hey, can I play against this deck? Can we play a set with, me, this specific matchup? Yeah. Try to figure out where your deck falls short and either adapt your play style to, checking against that, or adapt your deck against it, or just understand that, hey, I gotta hope I don't get matched up against this. Yeah. Sometimes that's the case. Yeah.
And just talk to your locals. It's something that I did actually just yesterday is I went to a locals where we literally just sat there and grinded games, and I was actually able to talk to one of our better players in our group, Dave, and he kind of gave me his impression of my Ice Earth deck, and kind of he was able to talk to me and be like, why are you running this? Or like, why would you prefer running this over this? And it was a great introspection moment where I was able to kind of say like, well, I'm running this for this reason, and if there's anything that I learned from that conversation is that I do really like the direction that my deck's going.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he was able to bring up like, well, you're going to have problems in this matchup. This matchup might be a little rough on you and stuff like that. And I was able to just kind of think about it, kind of prepare. Something that I really want to talk about is I actually bought this little notebook. And it's just like this super small one, like kind of fits in my hand. And I always keep a little pen with it, and I just write down all of the matchups, everything that I've been kind of changing about my decks. Like in between, I'll note like if I just took out that for that reason, I put in Jill Nabat, I put in a Vayne, I took out like a Harley or something like that. And this has been super handy for me. It allows me to just kind of sit back after a game, after just like kind of a casual game, and just kind of think about everything that kind of went through. So Earth Ice is still kind of new to me, so I've been marking whenever I see Shantottos, how early I see Shantottos, how fast I get put to like 4 or 5 damage, how fast I put the opponent 4 or 5 damage. And it's been super handy for me because I am able to kind of look back and say like, oh, well, this matchup was kind of rough for me, this matchup's kind of rough for me. If I do that in this matchup, I have a better chance of winning. And it's just kind of just an extension of just like really kind of learn the meta and also kind of learn your matchups.
Yeah. I can't echo Ty enough on that one. That's a very strong point to make. If he hadn't said it, I probably would have brought it up.
Yeah, because even if you are running like kind of an obscure deck, if you're running an obscure color combo, or if you're running just kind of a deck that's very you still want to know the matchups.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we can move on. We kind of touched on this already, playtest a lot.
Yeah.
I think the next thing we can touch on is calm your nerves.
Yeah.
A lot of new players, or even experienced players sometimes, get really nervous. They get that performance anxiety in some way. I mean, even if you're not on the stage, if you're not on stream or anything, it's stressful.
Yeah.
We get it. We understand. That is, it is a very awkward, unusual thing for some people.
Yeah.
But the thing to consider, thing to remember, it's just another game.
Yeah.
It really doesn't have any bearing on your life. No one's going to, judge you for not doing well. No one's going to sit there and, treat you like absolute garbage for running an unusual or obscure deck.
Yeah.
No one, if you go 0-4, you know what? It happens. Everyone has their bad days. And even if it's even if it's a repeat bad day for you, you know what? It just
happens.
It's just motivation to get better.
Yeah, and nobody wants to, because everybody goes to a regional with like at least a couple people that they know. Sometimes they go alone. But you never want to go to your friends and just be like, yeah, I'm X3, or like, oh, I'm X2 and we're in round 3, or like anything like that. It sucks. It really sucks. But at the same time, you do need to prepare for that. And you just need to just kind of like calm yourself down. You need to just not panic and don't overthink things. It's really easy. So while we don't have a lot of, as I mentioned before, we haven't been to a lot of regionals.
Right.
We've been doing a lot of pre-releases. But something I really want to talk about is I used to play fighting games competitively. Not to brag, but I've been to EVO 6 times. I had to miss last year, sadly. But EVO, it's kind of the world stage. It's like the tournament. And it's terrible because you feel like your stomach's just being like clenched the entire time. But after a little while, after you kind of get acclimated, you just kind of get used to it. And your first tournament will be stressful. Your first tournament will be very nerve-wracking. But once you kind of hop over that hurdle, after you kind of get a little loose with it, is when you're going to be performing the best. You always perform the best when you're not under stress.
It really helps to also be friendly with your opponent.
Yeah.
Build some rapport with them.
Yeah.
Play a match or two with other decks before you play.
Sandbag.
Like just goof around.
Yeah.
Like be a buddy with them.
Yeah.
It helps you both, kind of ease the tension.
Yeah. You don't want to be that super serious guy all the time. Like it's.
Just take it easy.
Like you want to be able to kind of joke with them.
Everybody there is or has felt the same stress or anxiety as you at some point in their time playing the game. Everybody should, in theory, get it. Anybody who's not being cool about it, they're probably just a jerk in general, so don't take it too seriously.
Or they're just incredibly, incredibly nervous.
Yeah, they themselves might just be really...
And that might be a reason to just kind of reach out to them. Because it's, and then the final kind of part of this, and this was a good thing that helped me kind of calm my nerves about playing in fighting game tournaments all the time, was it's still just a game at the end of the day. Like, we are competing to be the best. We are competing to be the best in our region. But at the same time, we're playing this game to have fun. We started playing this game to have fun. We like playing with our locals. Like, you have to enjoy the game. You still have to have that love for the game. And that's what really helped me when it came to fighting games, where it's like, I lost, but I just wanted to play this. I
Yeah.
just wanted to see where I stack up. I just wanted to see how much fun I can have. And and that also goes over to card games where it's just like, you know what, I went 2-2. I didn't make it, but I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot of things, and I got some more matchup knowledge. Yeah. Like, don't go to a regional expecting to just dominate and just destroy everyone. You want to just kind of be a little loosey-goosey with it.
Keep it realistic, but don't get yourself down either.
Yeah.
Another on-the-fly thing I thought of is don't be afraid to net deck.
Yeah.
Usually I'm against net decking just because I feel like there's, more often than not, it hinders players. However, there's an asterisk. The other side of that coin is that, when you're going to a regionals or something, you're trying to take it seriously, and, net decking some of those really impressive decks from elsewhere in the world or elsewhere in even your country, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because that's teaching yourself something. You're building on somebody else's success, and maybe you're going to customize it and do just as well, or maybe you're going to learn something about the game you didn't know before.
Yeah.
And not everybody can come up with really hardcore competitive decks themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's if you want to go to a regional, go to any sort of large scale tournament, and try your hardest. You know what? Go for it. Do it. It's okay. As long as you understand the deck and you're not expecting the deck to autopilot itself.
Yeah.
Because that's the bane of a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players I've seen in our local group.
Yeah, so many people who are just like, oh, this is really good, so I'm just going to run it without kind of learning how to play it, without learning the combos, like everything you need to go through.
And what's scary about that is more so, Yu-Gi-Oh more so because Yu-Gi-Oh is a really expensive game right now.
Yeah.
So, some of these people blow $400 on a deck and they have no idea how to run it. So if you're going to net deck, it's okay to do that. Mm-hmm. Just understand the deck.
Yeah. And this does relate to Final Fantasy, but something else that happened in Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot with people who are net decking or just running just one or whatever is you don't know all the rulings about it. Mm-hmm. And Yu-Gi, this applies a lot more, not a lot more, but this applies more for Yu-Gi, and this kind of relates back to what we were talking about earlier, where you want to know the rulings on your deck, and you do want to practice it. So when we kind of say, net deck, or don't be scared to net deck, we're still encouraging you to play it with your friends. We're still encouraging you to play it with your group. Just telling your group, hey, I'm going to be playing some serious games. I'm going to just try to practice as much as possible. Throw your best stuff at me, because I want to see how it interacts with this.
Yeah.
And there shouldn't really be a lot of shame in net deck.
No, true. I completely agree. As long as you're net decking right. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Just don't be that guy who always net decks.
Yeah. Or if someone's running, for example, if I'm running a nice list with Vayne, and it's just Vayne hasn't been in any of the top 5 lists. There's no reason you should run Vayne. You should be running this other card. And it's just no. Because at the same time, you do always kind of have to adjust for your local meta. Mm-hmm. When it comes to a regional, you get to kind of break the rules a little bit. Yeah. And just kind of say I know everybody's running this. I should run this to counter it. Yeah.
That's how meta shifts.
Yeah.
That is how things change.
Yeah. And there's always a negative to net decking.
Yeah.
Because if you do one-for-one copy it, if someone starts seeing your deck, they're like, oh, I'm sure he's running XYZ card.
Yeah. So it makes you predictable.
Mm-hmm.
So, just some things to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And speaking of rulings, don't be afraid to call judges.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that some people just aren't sure about. Maybe you or your opponent is a little nervous and you're not, you're misremembering how a interaction works, or you don't know what the you don't understand. The wording is vague or something.
Yeah, you're pretty sure, but you're not entirely sure.
There's no shame whatsoever in calling a judge. There's nothing wrong with it. It might annoy your opponent.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Just to ensure that everybody has a fair and balanced game.
Mm-hmm.
It's safer than guessing, and it makes you look better to the host, the tournament organizers.
Yeah.
If you call a judge, because that makes it seem, assuming nobody's cheating, right?
Yeah.
But it still makes you look like you aren't cheating.
Yeah.
Because why would you call a judge if you're cheating?
Yeah. The literal nightmare situation is finishing up a game and losing, and then when talking to someone about it, they're like, "Oh, you could have done that. You ruled that wrong."
Yeah.
And it's a nightmare situation.
That happened on Wednesday.
Oh, it did?
At our locals.
Yeah.
Someone thought that you couldn't. One of the newer players didn't understand that you could use haste first turn if you go first.
Yeah.
And that changed their entire outlook on their deck. Because they're like, wow, haste is even better than I thought it was. And we're like, yeah. So, just be sure you're asking, even if it's so small and stupid, just be sure. Now, granted, not every judge is going to be perfect.
Yeah.
When I was in California, I stopped at a shop, and someone made a ruling call incorrectly. I still won. It didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But
when you got home, we were just
when I got home,
no,
I was talking to people about it, and I was like, wait, now that I think back, that's odd.
Yeah.
Why would that have been the case?
Yeah.
Long story short, there's a whole thing on first strike.
Yeah.
Not worth going into. I don't even.
But it's like judges are there to help. Like judges are there literally just to kind of help you out and be able to fix all of those. I had some issues. This came up in a lot more in Yu-Gi-Oh than it has for Final Fantasy for me. But there were times where it's just like, I'm pretty sure that's how this works. I want to make sure.
Yeah.
And even if it is disadvantageous, there's the word.
You got it.
To you, sometimes it's still worth doing just to make sure, because at the same time, you also don't want to be that guy that someone's just like, oh yeah, he totally lied about this. Yeah, he lied off this ruling or something like that. Like it's and if that spreads, then you just kind of lose a bit of cred. You kind of lose a bit of cred with the store.
Right.
And, some people start making memes about you on all the Final Fantasy pages.
But yeah, what was I going to say about that? I had a thing I was going to add to that. Oh well, I lost it. So I guess moving on, be clear about your card effects. Yeah. Semantics matters. Mm-hmm. The English language, yes, is a very complex one sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to mention. Square Enix, on their official website for the game, does have a full advanced rules list they update at least once a year, sometimes twice.
Yeah.
And they do have a full errata list.
Yeah.
So, feel free to print those up or keep a PDF of those on your phone.
Or even just call into the LGS and just be like, hey, can you guys print these out? Just so we
keep it on hand.
Yeah. And it's definitely going to be worth having.
Yeah, for sure. We always print up a new copy at our shop.
Yeah, which reminds me, we should be probably hitting up the LGSs that are hosting the regional and just being like, hey.
Yep, I'll probably call.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the thing. Be clear about your card effects. Mm-hmm. Make sure you fully understand as much as you can how that card works. Mm-hmm. Understand a lot of other cards in the meta and how they work with your card or just in general, so that you can make those calls on your own if you need to.
Yeah, and the other thing is, well, this is kind of 2 points. Number one, don't be that guy who's just like, when someone's like, what does that do? You're like, oh, don't worry about it. Or don't be that guy who's just like, oh, it has this effect, but there's 2 other effects that you don't need to worry about.
Yeah.
Or don't think about it or whatever. And the second part of this is a favorite phrase of a lot of people, RTFC. Read the card. Please read the card. And that's the best thing. I think the professor jokes reading the card explains the card. And at the same time, you don't want to be too fast about it. You don't want to look over the card. Just be like, oh yeah, I vaguely know what that does. Whatever. Yep. It's, especially with a card that has a lot of text, Celestia technically has 3 different effects.
Yep.
Or Genesis, Diabolos,
Well, even earlier today we were playing a game, and I was playing with some Warriors of Darkness stuff.
Yeah.
And I assumed that Ty knew what his universal buff was.
Yeah.
And it escaped us, and the time came for a block, and he was just like, wait, why is that guy 10k? And I was like, Glaive. And he's like, I would have played that whole turn differently.
Yeah.
And so we, I slapped myself on the forehead. I'm like, duh, I'm an asshole.
Yeah. And, well, it was also on me, too. Because the thing is, at the same time, I also need to RTFC.
Yeah, it's on both sides. Yeah. Everybody's responsible for being aware of what is what.
But whenever the opponent plays something and you don't immediately know what it does, if you're a little iffy on it, it's really good to just read the card.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, be nice about it. Don't just grab it and just look at it. Ask, hey, do you
polite.
mind if I look at that really quick?
Right.
And mind you, they can't tell you no. Unless a card is supposed to be in what's the term for it? In a non-visible zone or a non-public knowledge zone, they kind of have to show you what it does. Yep. And at the same time, this relates to it, but don't be scared to ask to look at someone's discard.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to kind of ask the person to kind of show you their damage and just cards are overlapping.
Side note to that, respect their cards.
Yeah.
It's not your property. Don't be grabbing it with Cheeto fingers.
Yeah.
Don't be slippery and quick about it and drop cards all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't bend them or whatever. Just grab the card, look at it, put it back gently, let it be over. I've known so many people who bend other people's cards.
Yeah, how we usually do it, because the thing is we usually just slide it.
Yeah,
we slide it and
slide,
flip it. And
over,
that's always super handy, because like, yeah, you have to kind of engage. You have to kind of lean over and look down at the card. But it's, once again, it's a really great way to look at the card, read it, just make sure you know what it does.
Yeah.
And, just RTFC. Like, that's all I can really say. Because the thing is, it's such a bad feeling to lose a regional game to just, like, something you just forgot about. Or, like, oh, he does that. Or, oh, I didn't know he had a Kuja in discard.
Yeah. Like, bad luck is one thing. Your opponent hits all 3 7-drop Odin EXs on damage.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing. But then there's... I forgot that, this card did this thing.
Yeah, I forgot Glaive gives 2K. I forgot that they had a Duke Larg out. I forgot that Rama can also break a monster.
Yep.
Like, it's really not hard to forget things, and especially when you're at a regional. Well, obviously, we're
with
still
pressure
saying, like,
on.
Don't be with pressure on, you're going to forget that, or you're going to slide onto that. It kind of relates to just kind of having a calm head while playing, but also just don't be scared to read the card.
Yeah. And then segue, announce your phases and intent.
Yeah.
Always, in locals and casuals, everybody kind of understands what's what.
Yeah.
But the game is getting to a point now where a lot of reactions and interactions are happening on the field at any given point.
Yeah.
Your opponent might call something on, might use a summon on blocker, or they might, they might use something. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Point is, announce what you're going, where you're going to go with your turn.
Yeah.
You don't have to say, well, hey, by the way, when I move to attack phase, I'm going to swing with Illua first.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, if you don't do that, you're basically just announcing, like, the thing is, if you're, like, main phase 1, swing with Illua. Like, it's, like, the person could just be like, whoa, wait a second. We're going back to attack phase. I already know you're swinging with Illua. And it's just like, well, I've got these effects. And so that immediately puts you at a disadvantage. Because they immediately know what you're going to do.
Yep.
And 2, it's also just kind of a dick move.
Yep.
Like, it's... it's very important to just say, draw phase.
Yeah.
Main phase 1, ending main phase... Or going into combat.
Yeah.
Going into main phase 2, going into end phase.
Yeah, I admit I'll hold an L that I was a very bad culprit of not announcing when I was going into attack.
Yeah.
I'd play a couple cards on the field, be looking at my hand, and be like, all right, cool, swing, and everybody's like,
no.
I
do this to you a lot, where I'm just like, no, wait. Yeah.
And I would announce every other phase except for combat, and then I was like, so...
Yeah, like, in a casual setting, like, I'm used to just kind of saying, like, hey, tell me when I'm entering combat.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't be saying that to you at a regional. I shouldn't be saying that to anyone at a regional.
If you're going to a tournament,
be telling me, by the way, I'm going into combat. It's like, okay, cool, I have this effect. Or, like, you're going into combat, like, Arcanist calling 3, or, like, Arcanist calling 4. Yeah. Like, it's really... It's not hard to just say, hey, I'm going into combat. Or, like, hey, I just swung with this. And it's... Yeah, you just need to always be kind of diligent about it. This is just kind of, like, a goodwill thing, and it really helps. And the thing is, it will help the tournament kind of move faster, because then you don't have people just being like, all right, like, swing. And it's just like, wait, we have to rewind until going into combat.
Yep.
This is something that I really enjoy about automatic games, kind of like Magic Arena and Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro.
Yeah, it's all self-announcing and stuff.
But in real life, you don't get that. You don't get that machine that just kind of tells you, like, hey, this is happening. Right. So you have to be very clear and very concise about it. Like, you just don't want to be a cheater, really.
And I guess we move to the last topic that we had prepared, is these things should go without saying, in theory.
Yeah.
But we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. And we're calling out Yu-Gi-Oh! Players specifically because I had to make rulings in the official rules about this.
Yeah.
You can get kicked out of tournaments for doing these things.
Yeah.
So don't eat or drink near your game.
Yeah.
Do it beforehand.
Yeah. Try to avoid that.
It makes you feel more calm, and you're not distracted by hunger.
Yeah.
You're not going to risk damaging your cards or your opponent's cards, even worse, because you owe them, $200 for a deck in theory.
Yeah, it doesn't distract you from the game. You don't have to say, like, wait 1 second while I just shove a bunch of fries into my mouth. Which,
your greasy fingers should not be picking up
other people's cards or anything like that.
Especially if you're opening packs, like, you're ruining cards that are worth they have value.
Yeah, you'll want to eat, like, it's a really good idea to just get a nice meal right before you start playing.
Yeah.
Preferably like an hour before, because then you get to eat, you get to relax for a minute. You could probably fit in like a quick game before the regional starts.
Don't cough into your hands and then touch cards.
Yeah.
Come on, like it's 2019, and for some reason, some people are turning around and not vaccinating their kids and themselves. So like that herd immunity is kind of missing right now. coughing in your hand and touching other people's stuff is disgusting.
Yeah. Something we should probably point out, or something that's always a nice thing to have in your bag is just hand sanitizer.
Yeah. I mean, it's not 100% effective, but like it'll stop a common cold.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, some more of this stuff.
Something I could actually bring up really quick.
Yeah.
So something that I do. This is really loud because I'm opening up my backpack. So I have this little like Magic the Gathering box, and in it I keep Band-Aids just in case.
Oh, you got a little kit, yeah.
Yeah, hand sanitizer. I bring tea bags with me everywhere because I've got a cup in there too. And then a big one is deodorant. Like I feel like a lot of the people that we're talking to are really well, duh, and I feel like this is affecting less and less players every year. But at the same time, please shower. Yeah. Please put on deodorant. Like it just sucks to just sit next to someone who doesn't smell very good.
Like I said, Yu-Gi-Oh has made official Konami rules about showering, eating, smelling, etc. General hygiene and health. Mm-hmm. And for your own personal health, get sleep, rest. There's nothing wrong with sleeping. Yeah, like it's gonna eat up a little bit of your day, but like. We all need sleep. Humans were built to sleep like at least 6 hours a day. You're going to function worse if you're burning that time to practice instead of getting ample sleep.
Yeah.
It's been proven by science, if we want to start talking about this, that you learn better if you do something, then sleep on it, wake up, and then repeat that action.
And this stuff kind of sucks because, like, especially if it is your first tournament, you're super nervous the night before, and you're always overthinking, and you're always just like, I can't sleep. I have to like practice this. I need to run more test hands and FF decks. I need to start doing all of this. Like, I can't. I gotta keep up with it. And you just need to just say like, hey, it's 10 o'clock. I'm gonna get ready for bed. Kind of give yourself that like little area where you just be like, okay, I can get relaxed. I can calm down. I can sleep.
Like, don't feel afraid to don't. It's not lame to calculate out how okay, I need to get up at like 8 a.m. So it's okay to stay up till like 1 at the latest. But let's think of a buffer. How long is it going to take me to get ready for bed? Mm-hmm. What time do I want to start practicing to brush my teeth, pee?
Yeah. What time am I meeting up with everybody?
Crash.
I have to wake up early so I can shower.
Right. So keep that stuff in mind.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you really want to think about.
Yeah. So I think we can call it here. This has been. Anything else?
I'm trying to think if there's anything. Like, I'm trying to think of just all the tournaments that I've been to and like all that. Just
be on time for your matchup.
Yeah, that's another kind of big thing. Like, make sure you're on time. Try to show up to the event or the venue, preferably like an hour early.
Yeah.
So it's usually good to get there like an hour and a half early. That gives you time to grab something really close, get something to eat.
Don't spread your stuff out.
Yeah.
And then have to collect it all. But when you're moving tables or God forbid when the whole thing is over and you're the last person on the way out and everyone's waiting on you. I can't count how many times I've had to close the shop later and later in the night where I work. Yeah. And, because certain players of all different communities, I'm not calling anybody out. Yeah. But, like, they'll just sit there.
This is also, actually, I'm going to call out a community for Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
They're getting better about it. But even when I used to work there, like, there were a lot of times where they're like, oh, I'm wrapping up. It's like, guys, we were supposed to close like half an hour ago.
So it's like, can I go home, please? Yeah. Like, or my girlfriend's waiting outside in the car. Like, can I go? So, be courteous as much as you can. Think about the things you don't normally think about.
Yeah. So. You just, like, you want to help the venue as much as possible.
Yeah.
And this one it's not so much a hint, but something that's usually, like, a little bit of goodwill is just buy something at the shop.
Yeah.
Like, that's just something kind of small. I feel we're slightly biased because we've both worked at LGS, or I've worked at an LGS, you still work at an LGS. Yep. It's always just a nice thing. Just be nice to the people working. Yeah. Because the thing is, they might be running the regional, and they might still have customers coming in looking for a board game. Or something.
Like be patient.
So always be patient.
Granted, we understand that money's tight for some people. That's cool. That's whatever. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it.
Yeah, as long as you're really being nice to the people who work there, that's usually enough. Like,
but if you're a jackass and you don't spend money, then you're just on the shit list.
Yeah, like I didn't have a whole list of like people that I was just like, oh well, what's a name that nobody has?
Eric.
Eric like didn't pay for this. Like, oh, Eric, he stayed here the whole time and he brought food in, but he never bought anything. Like, I'm not paying attention to that. Like, they're not going to pay attention to that. But please just be courteous. Like, it's, just kind of makes everything go a lot easier.
Yeah. Don't complain if you lose. A lot of people, there's some people I know who've whined ridiculously hoping for some kind of overturn, and it's just
Yeah.
like, that's not going to happen. You were soundly and, unceremoniously defeated.
Like, salt is always going to happen. Like, you're going to be salty, and it sucks. It really sucks.
Just don't pour out the salt.
Yeah, but also don't be that guy who's just like, oh, like, whatever, she wouldn't have won, or like, oh, what's a girl doing here? Like, we had that issue with Yu-Gi-Oh! Once or twice.
Yeah,
and it's just super disrespectful, and just don't do it. Like, I understand being salty. Like, I 100% understand it, but the thing is, to talk about it, to talk bad about your opponent.
Yeah.
Because this is something that I really enjoy about card games, and this is something that I really enjoy about fighting games as well, is that if you lose, obviously there's some RNG in it, it's still your fault. Like, you're still the cause of your loss. Like you said earlier, sometimes the opponent gets 3 Odins into damage, and you lost all your advantage that you just got, or the person top-decked into a Prompto right when you had 4 cards out, and that completely turned around the game. Or someone just super goaded you into playing 4 forwards, and then you slammed a Shantotto.
Hey. 3
forwards. I had to, yeah. Yeah, it happens.
This guy.
And it sucks. Like, there's no getting around that it's such a feel-bad moment. But at the same time, don't spread that negativity around. Just kind of, it sucks to hold that L, but you just got to do it.
Yeah, the more L's you hold, the stronger your belt's going to get until you can start ticking off some wins on it too.
Yeah.
So, I think we can...
I'm trying to think of anything else.
Yeah, I don't...
Because I just don't want to release this episode and be like, we forgot to talk about this.
Well, hey, that gives people a chance to comment and tell us that we're idiots.
That's a good point. Yeah. Please comment. Tell us anything. Feel free to kind of post about your experiences. Post about that super salty guy that you slammed
we want to hear
onto.
We want to hear your horror stories.
And he threw his deck down the stairs or something like that. Like, feel free to tell us our horror stories. And just hearing other people's horror stories... Like, someone will read that and be like, I really don't want to be that guy.
It'd be fun. We could do an episode where we just read horror stories from comments about experiences at shops.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll have to put that down onto our ideas list.
Yeah.
But yeah, a horror stories episode would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of the bit of the podcast where we're just kind of like loosey-goosey.
Right, so...
yeah, that's everything that I can really think of. That's all the advice that I can really give. You know, just to break it down into just 3 easy points. Come prepared, be prepared, sleep, eat, drink and shower beforehand, and third point's just be nice.
Be courteous, be cool.
Everybody is there to just kind of have some fun. Everybody is there to compete. Like, there's no point in just being a jerk about everything. Like, just chill.
If you're miserable, you're making other people miserable, and that is no fun.
Yeah,
so,
and you don't want to bring that to an LGS.
Yeah. So, I think we can call it here. If you feel like being generous, we have a Ko-fi. It'll be linked down in the description.
Mm-hmm.
General...
kids to feed, blah, blah, blah.
etc.
Everything that goes into our coffee is going into the show to just get better equipment.
Yep.
We've joked about our jank setup. Today it's extra jank.
This is extra jank.
Super jank.
Oh, man.
It's working, though. It's working. Yeah. It looks pretty good from what we can tell. So it's... Yeah.
So.
The YouTuber spiel, comment, subscribe.
Blah, blah.
But please feel free to comment, number 1, anything that we missed.
Yeah.
And number 2, any horror stories you have. We love hearing horror stories.
Yeah, we'd love to do a spotlight on that.
I really want to create just a Reddit of just horror stories from card games, because there's so many. Everybody has that guy who threw a deck. Everybody has that guy who literally sold his deck at the original because he was mad that it didn't do well.
That's a good. That was a good story of yours.
Yeah, and those happen all the time. Like, please feel free to comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We should probably mention. I feel kind of like a jerk for bringing this up. We should probably start putting these episodes onto SoundCloud.
Probably.
Just
there's some that require a visual element, but this one in particular definitely fits on SoundCloud.
Because even with visual ones, we should just throw them up anyway. So please, we're on YouTube. We're probably posting this episode under the Reddit and the Facebook pages and everything. But once again, thanks for watching.
We appreciate the support. Sorry for being a really long one.
It's
kind of necessary.
Yeah.
So, we'll catch you guys next time.
See ya. Peace.